Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the live stream. Boom shakalaka. There we go. I'm your host, Stefan Burns, space weatherman, geophysicist, geologist, cosmic bro. Let's just keep it simple. We break down the complex into simple things and we look at everything that's affecting the Earth energetically. So necessarily you have to go beyond the Earth to do that. So we're examining earthquakes, we're examining volcanic activity, Schumann resonances, any sort of weather changes and stuff that's notable enough on a global scale. Then you zoom out to solar activity, space weather, planetary resonances and alignments and such. We have an alignment right now with interstellar object 3I Atlas, which, because we discovered it and we have the orbital trajectory, we were able to forecast out the fact that we would have a superior conjunction today months ago. So back in July, I guess my first video on 3I Atlas was July 28th. I started working on it and then I released, I think, August 1st. So starting in like mid-August, basically, I may have even talked about it at the very beginning with my first video. Starting in August, we were talking about how the closest approach of 3I Atlas with the sun, which is the perihelion, and also the superior conjunction that it has as viewed from Earth beforehand, today the 21st, was likely going to coincide with some enhanced solar activity, like big solar activity. And well, here is a huge far-side coronal mass ejection that just launched from the sun. Yesterday we talked about 3I Atlas, how it's getting close. It's getting supercharged because of its close approach. When it's in deep interstellar space, it's receiving almost no energy from nearby stars or the cosmic background radiation. So the overall input to it, measured in watts per square meter, is like 10 to the negative 7, 10 to the negative 8 when something's in deep interstellar space. That's what we calculate out. You know, we haven't actually put a probe in super deep interstellar space, so we don't know, but that's probably what it is based off physics, right? Physics. Well, when 3I Atlas is at its closest approach to the sun, its perihelion, that irradiance is calculated to be about 735 watts per square meter. So it's going from 10 to the negative 7 or 10 to the negative 8, something like that, all the way up to 735. A huge increase in the amount of energy. And that's just light radiation coming off of the sun, okay? We also, in yesterday's video, discussed the Earth-facing sunspots and solar flares from the 11th to the 20th. See these two sunspot groups? We see them right there. They're synced up in time. Lots of boom shakalakas here. X-ray flux goes up. We see our solar flares really going wild, specifically this sunspot group there. Very, very, very active. That is likely what launched this coronal mass ejection from the far side, which, by the way, is also going to result almost certainly in a radiation storm here on Earth. Because when you just get an explosion that big, basically anywhere on the sun, you're going to get some sort of radiation storm. So we are seeing some low energy electrons start to increase already. Those are going to be the fastest because of the lowest mass, but probably within a couple hours, we're going to start seeing protons and heavier ions go up. So very, very quick results from a big explosion that has just moved to the far side of the sun. Again, this goes to the 20th and now we're already into the 22nd universal time because it's 8:27 p.m. here on the East Coast, United States. So that is 4 hours behind universal. So it is 12:27 a.m. universal time, October 22nd. We also had a new moon today, so keep that in mind. So we had a Earth, Moon, Sun, 3I Atlas alignment. That's the planetary geometry that we are tracking, forecasting that there would be some enhanced solar activity. I was leaning more towards bigger than smaller, like big solar activity, but you have to be a little bit measured when you give a forecast because you simply just don't know, especially that far out in advance. But, well, here we are. It happened. We just had this giant coronal mass ejection launch, and already some people on Twitter are talking, space weather people that are saying if this would hit us, this would give us a G5 storm and reach us in less than a day. That's a big coronal mass ejection. Let's look at our zoomed out view, which is our C3 coronagraph. Oh yeah, this is looking very nice. Give this a look. You are going to be blown away. And so the big thing here is, how is this going to affect 3I Atlas? Here we have our display capture. And look at first, there's been a ton of stuff launching. As you can see, this is the past 24 hours, okay? Look at that bad boy. Okay, so this is clearly showing a couple things. G5 is not even that strong. G5 is the strongest level that you get for a geomagnetic storm. G5 is extreme geomagnetic storming if it hits Earth. You can't go above that. So some people saying this would likely give us a G5 impact less than 24 hours later. So that means Earth at 1 astronomical unit getting hit by this in less than 24 hours means that 3i Atlas at about 1.5, 1.46, 36, anywhere in that zone, astronomical units. It's in the orbit of Mars, is going to be hit by this within 2 days. So very big, very fast, very powerful coronal mass ejection. Now the key is here too, you notice it's going out like this. This is a full halo coronal mass ejection, though it is slightly lopsided. See how we get this push off on this side? That shows the full halo component, but it's more of a partial halo because most of it's going this direction. Now again, today the 21st, 3i Atlas is exactly opposite the sun, right? So if we're looking at it like this, it's exactly opposite that on the other side, about 1.5 astronomical units or something. It's perihelion, it'll be at 1.36. That's the 29th of October. Then we got Halloween. Boom, the veil's thin. 3i Atlas is all charged up. We're all charged up. The world's going crazy. Like the aliens arrive. Who knows? But this is what's happening. You'll notice that it's launching more this way. Well, that is the direction 3i Atlas is going right now. That's the thing. So we're effectively looking at the sun like this. Earth is rotating its orbit this way. 3i Atlas is going through this way. And on December 19th, Earth and 3i Atlas have their closest approach. It's still pretty far apart, but we're both moving in the same direction effectively at this moment in time. 3i Atlas is just exactly on the opposite side. So there's like this energy tether between them, moving like this through the solar system. And right when that alignment hit the sun, we get this massive coronal mass ejection that's now launching towards 3i Atlas when it's at its greatest solar irradiance, likely its highest energy levels that's just received for tens of millions of years, if not even billions of years. That's most likely outcome. And then we don't know what happens with it when it gets hit. It's going to get hit by this radiation storm a lot stronger than us. Let us look at our NASA models for this, okay? So that's a coronal mass ejection, really big, big, big solar storm launch. We could get more. Those sunspot groups are still active, right? This could be the first of multiple, and I think there's probably more, but we'll have to wait and see. Here we have our NASA models first run. So there are people working at NASA even during the government shutdown. And I put in the location of 3i Atlas. This is probably pretty close to accurate, but you know, I was overlaying different videos to get the position in there. So, you know, it's not going to be 100% perfect, but this is the orbit of Mars, and you see 3i Atlas cutting within the orbit of Mars just like that. This is the model for the shock. We're looking top down on the ecliptic plane. So you have the sun, you have Mercury, Venus, Earth, right, Mars, all of them along this ecliptic plane, right, this flat plane. We're looking top down on that, like we're God, just, you know, pulling the strings of the universe, okay? This is the solar wind density. So we see these streams here. These are called co-rotating interaction regions. And we see that they have a higher density and then a lower density that follows behind them. Here's our scale bar. This is high density. This is low density. So you start to get up into the red colors, you know you have a very high density wave of plasma. Look at our shock. It actually goes up into like the white and gray colors, even a little bit of black. So that's showing that the density, the plasma density, the amount of these particles per cubic centimeter, right? Particles per cubic centimeter goes way, way, way up. Big difference from these co-rotating interaction regions, which are around 10 to 12 or so, as you see, maybe even a little bit lower in the cyan portions, going up to 50. Big increase, very fast. Look at the velocity on that shock going out, and that is propagating. Venus is going to get slammed, as you can tell. Venus is going to get hit like right on. Then we also see JUICE here. This is the ESA probe that's eventually going to go to Jupiter. and we're going to get images of 3i Atlas via JUICE, and it's going to track 3i Atlas after perihelion starting like November 2nd. That's what the ESA, the European Space Agency, has said. Here's the bulk model. So this is the bulk of the plasma. The shock is faster. See, the bulk is bigger, and it's just overall the majority of this coronal mass ejection. 3i Atlas is, I plotted it in this one. So it's not a dead-on hit according to this model and how I've layered it, okay? They show it mostly going this way. I think maybe it's actually skewed a little bit more like that based off of that coronagraph imagery, again, right here. I mean, definitely it's going this direction. Wait for it. Definitely it's going that direction, but there is this halo component to it. So they do show that in their model. They do show this enhanced wave of plasma going exactly opposite the Earth. There's the Earth right there. But regardless, no matter how you slice it, 3i Atlas is going to get slammed by this guy. And it's going to get hit by all that radiation, which we are expected to receive here on Earth any moment now. It's called a radiation storm. We haven't had one for a while. So while 3i Atlas is getting hit by this radiation, slammed by the solar wind, and just absolutely pounded by this solar storm, perhaps more to come too, we are also going to be receiving some of these high energy solar particles traveling near the speed of light. So we can look at a real-time solar wind low energy electron monitor. And let's give this a look. We see it right here. And this is provided by ACE at the L1 Lagrange point, 1% of the distance in front of the Earth to the Sun. So it gives us a heads up. They have a whole bunch of different monitors on this. Here we see our electrons at 175 to 315 kiloelectron volts, and then we have our green one here showing the 38 to 53 kiloelectron volts. So these are weaker, these are more energetic. Look at how this has gone up 1.1 orders of magnitude. Ready a big jump immediately. And we see the time of that. This is for the past 24 hours. This was starting right around a little bit after 20. Actually, let's even say just slightly before 2200 Universal Time on the 21st. So we can go back to our chronograph. Let's give this a watch. Let's look at the time. And you'll notice that this is going to be right at that time. Oh, look at that. Right around that 20 to 2200 Universal Time is when we had that big explosion. So yeah, it's lining up perfectly. Thank you, Keir Stark, for the super thanks. We all appreciate you, Professor Burns. Thank you for your peace, faith, knowledge, and genius presentations. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We all love you. We love everyone here on the channel. The only ask that I have is that we're all kind and respectful to each other. And if that's the case, then we can all coexist together peacefully. That is the goal. Now, if aliens come, can we coexist with them peacefully? Depends on if they want to coexist with us peacefully and they're not too weird. I don't think 3i Atlas is aliens, but I think it's certainly very interesting to go through those thought experiments because we need to prepare for that reality. Now, if we go to our ACE again, but we refresh it and we look at our protons, we're not seeing anything right now go up other than our electrons. I mean, very slight bump there, but really the protons haven't come in yet. The electrons certainly have. If we go to our proton flux, this is where we measure effectively the effect of a radiation storm. We don't see this yet making any sort of significant jump up. So if I waited 2-3 hours, this would probably already be going up, but it can take a few hours depending on where a really big solar storm, or basically just a giant explosion on the sun, happens for that then to reach Earth. It's in a position that's fairly conjugate in terms of the magnetic field, so it's fairly well aligned, but it is a little bit like even further behind that point, and so there's going to be a little bit of a delay. I would say the chance of us not having any sort of increase in proton flux from an explosion like that is almost zero. I'd be blown away if we didn't get this start to go up in the next few hours. And probably at least an S1 storm. I would probably say we have an S2 radiation storm ahead of us, if not even S3. based off of how big that solar explosion was, and based off of its position, we're likely looking at like an S2, S3 storm, though. Again, this just happened. I'm surprised that hasn't gone up already, in fact, but we'll have to wait and see. I'd be blown away if we don't get an S1. But, you know, perhaps I'll be wrong. I was not wrong on the fact that we had solar activity, though, with this superior conjunction and perihelion transit of 3 at Atlas, because we've been talking about that. You guys know this. We've been talking about it for months now. This isn't rocket science. Right? I really don't think that this is rocket science. It's really just putting together some well-known, or rather well-published published science that maybe the mainstream doesn't accept, but it's closer to the truth than maybe some of the scientific models that we use currently. That's certainly been the case many times across history, where we have these, you know, these people that come out and 100 years later they're proven correct. 50 years later. Things like that. So Hans Alvin, shout out to Hans Alvin, plasma physicist from Sweden. Also did a lot of work in San Diego. That guy was way ahead of his time and still is not getting the credit that he is due. That is 100% what I believe. So we are going to look at our stereo head imagery to see that explosion hopefully on the sun, because we should be able to catch it. And we'll set this for the 21st and just get just simply today. And we will put to 22nd so we can see that kind of go. But if we put this on slideshow, we should be able to get something here. And yeah, we don't have many images, but we do have this. Let me make this look nice for y'all. Okay. This is almost certainly our culprit. And watch our time here. I don't know when this ends. This is the first time I'm looking at our stereo A imagery. Figured I would just do it live. And yeah, it looks like we see something happen at the very end. They did say in modeling that NASA image, that the space weather model, that there was a single frame that they were able to use. We're going to see as close to like the 2000 mark as possible. We're at 16, 18. Yeah, so here we start to go and we see, yeah, okay, exactly. So there was definitely a big explosion there, almost certainly from that guy. And we are also right now in this coronal hole high-speed stream, by the way. So we are in that as well. There's a bunch of stuff happening right now. We can go to our real-time view of the sun, our SUVI imagery, which is up and running, to look at that coronal hole. We're actually just kind of exiting now. We see it right here. We're just exiting that influence now. So we've been in a high-speed stream. Solar wind density I don't think is problematic as it relates to earthquake like space weather, but let's give it a look, because it's really when we're below 1 particle per cubic centimeter that we're concerned about earthquakes. But there's just been a lot of charging happening on the Earth in general. So the perihelion of Oumuamua coincided within one day of the biggest earthquake in 2017 at magnitude 8.2 in Mexico. 3 at Atlas is bigger, and it's getting supercharged by the sun, so I wouldn't rule out any big earthquakes occurring in the next 2 weeks. We look at multiple factors here. We don't lock ourselves in on just one single thing and use that to make or break everything. Like, in general, there's a lot happening right now. We got a really nice super thanks that came in. Thank you, Stefan, for all your hard work and dedication to bringing us this information. Brilliant, sir. Well, thank you so much, Delon or Leon 333. I really appreciate that. You are awesome. God bless. And so, yeah, let's actually look at our earthquakes. I haven't seen them for the past few hours, so we can just see what's up. Maybe something big has happened. I don't think so, but we had a bit of interesting activity, actually. So this is a good opportunity to discuss it really quick. Go here. And the interesting activity has been in Poland, of all places. I love Poland. Been there many times. Great place. I could certainly live there, though it could get cold at times. But I could definitely live in Poland. So here we have our 2 earthquakes over the past week in Poland, and they're both magnitude 4.5s, as you can see, 4.5, 4.5. Now I looked at the historic seismicity for this area, And it's not the most difficult to pull up. Let me pull it up here. You can check out our regional information and just simply click the map and kind of get this looking nice. You'll see that there are earthquakes that occur in this zone. This is from 1950 to now. And you see some other earthquakes spread out across Europe, but this is certainly like a little hot spot of earthquakes. So it's not like it's never happened before. But I just do find these earthquakes occurring in these non-fault zones interesting. There's also been an earthquake that just happened in Scotland, of all places. And guess what? I'm half Scottish and half Polish. So it's just kind of interesting. The synchronicities, if you want it. So 3.9 right there in Scotland. And beautiful place. I haven't been there specifically, but I definitely want to go back. If you haven't been to Scotland before, I recommend. If you live there, you're lucky in many ways. So that is the update for you on what is happening with the sun, with Three-Eye Atlas, with earthquakes, and more. Let's just look lastly at our orbital visualization for Three-Eye Atlas. We have this set for November. I was playing with this earlier to create that space weather model, but here it is today. And I can even go forward in time to right now, which would be right about here or so. And we see that it is within the orbit of Mars. It's close to the sun. Perihelion comes up on the 29th, but today is the superior conjunction, as you can see, with this perfect alignment between the Earth, the Moon, the Sun, and Three-Eye Atlas. Happy new moon, everybody. This new moon, every new moon or full moon has symbology and archetypal significations built into it. And a new moon specifically is seen as a new cycle. And it's really interesting. If you look at human civilization society, there are lunar rhythms that have very strong influences over us. So that has a lot of connections to biology, the tides on Earth, things like that. Your consciousness kind of ebbs and flows with the lunar cycle, 28 days. And then there's also Venus cycles. So the two feminine influences are these shorter term influence is on us individually, collectively, and societally. The Venus cycle is like a 13-month cycle or so. No, it's actually a 10-month cycle from conjunctions and such. So you have this 8-year-long overall Venus cycle. And then if you go to the larger planetary resonances that are longer in time duration, Jupiter, Saturn, 20-year cycles. And then you get conjunctions between all the outer gas giants, which can go from like 13, 14 years all the way out to 500 something plus years and beyond. Those are all male archetypes. So the longer rhythms and trends in society are more masculine in their archetypal flavor. So we have a new lunar cycle baked in with whatever Three-Eye Atlas is, right? Whatever energy and information it contains, which everything does, right? Because energy is information and energy is everywhere across the universe, and therefore information is everywhere, and also therefore consciousness is everywhere. So the energy, information, and unique consciousness of Three-Eye Atlas is baked into this lunar cycle. The next 28 days are going to be very interstellar for all of us, individually, collectively, societally. Expect big things to pop up around that. The sun is blasting Three-Eye Atlas with this giant coronal mass ejection, perhaps more to come. It's already been blasting with these other smaller solar storms, but now we got the big daddy to blast off, just like forecasted. It's being hit with tons of solar radiation, 735 watts per square meter or so during its perihelion on the 29th. And what happens after that going into November? Oh, and well, we have Halloween, 31st, the veil is thin, right? What happens in November? I don't know. But the next 28 days, that lunar cycle is going to be crazy because of this perfect conjunction with Three-Eye Atlas, and now also the timing of this event. Expect explosive developments. That would be what I would say. Take it all with a grain of salt, and who knows what actually is going to happen, but that would be the forecast for the next 28 days, just on more like archetypal and societal level. So make sure you rest, like treat yourself well, because things are going to be wild, and it's important that we care for ourselves first before we go out into the world and really focus on others, because the world would be healed if we all just simply healed ourselves first. And if you like the merch, this is on the website, the 3i Atlas Interstellar shirt. We have the artwork on the back. I'm not sure how well you can see it. I think pretty well. But a lot of people are talking about aliens when it comes to 3i Atlas, and that this is a mothership and there's a fleet and everything. And I don't think that's the case. I simply think that it's some very unique interstellar object, and it has a very unique consciousness imprint with it, and it's going to change our energy field and therefore affect us in a lot of ways, known and unknown. That's what I think. But if it is aliens and the ship shows up, right, who do you think is getting on the ship? If you want to get on the ship, who do you think is getting on the ship? The people wearing the shirt or those that aren't wearing the shirt? I think it's those that are wearing the shirt. So if you got the 3i Atlas shirt, right, you're signed up, you're getting on the spaceship. You can pick it up at earthevolution.com/store, size small to XXL. This is the front. You see the back here as well. Artwork by my father, Lee Burns. This is his soil pigment artwork. We digitize it, boom, put it right on the back. You can get your Boom Shakalaka on as well. We have our official channel merch here, the Boom Shakalaka shirt. That's the front right there. It comes in banana. Also comes in watermelon, and with the big Boom Shakalaka on the back. That goes all the way to 4XL, by the way. And we have the latest shirt, the Cosmos Within. This is available small to 4XL in white and also in midnight blue. And all other orders, these ship directly from a third party, okay? So you put the order in and it ships from them. It takes about a week, and it's available to everyone in the United States. If you're in Europe or any other place, sorry, it's not available at this moment in time. We hope to make that available soon. But we just mix up a bunch of spirituality. This is the stuff that you want if you want to connect to these more astral dimensions, your higher spirit. You want to have crazy dreams, right? You want to take a little bit of a step into the unknown. Well, pick this up. This is super high quality, organic, all herbal tea blend. It's 4 ingredients. I basically just found the best suppliers for the 4 herbs I found that synergistically work together. I did a whole bunch of experimentation with this in 2022 before I was ever known on YouTube. And people asked me about it once I started making videos, because I would mention it. So it's mugwort, chamomile, passion flower, and also purple lotus flower. You see that big guy right there? There's a bunch of that in there. And you boil some water and steep it for 15 minutes and drink that maybe before you go to bed, and you may connect to the spaceship in more ways than one. But that is available on the website. If you pick up anything that we ship out ourselves, my father and I, you also get a Boom Shakalaka sticker with the order. It's just a little perk that we have. So there's a bunch of good stuff on the website as well. Tea blends and more. We're fully stocked up. We just got a whole bunch of new crystals in. They are awesome. If you want to really enhance the effect, especially around Halloween, get a couple of these crystals, charge them up in the sunlight, put them underneath your pillow, and then drink this before you go to bed, and woohoo, you may have some fun. Or at least you may access parts of your subconscious and more that you've never touched before. Also, a shout out with our fruit tea. I want to mention this because this is the season, fall in the Northern Hemisphere. This is all USA only, again, by the way, where people are getting sick. So this is our tea blend that I formulated for basically staying healthy and well and supporting your immune system during the fall. Because it has elderberry, it has rose hips. Rose hips is very high in vitamin C. Everyone knows about elderberry and its benefits to the immune system. It also has strawberry for a lot of flavor, but also those anthocyanins, just like elderberry, which are immune protective and good for you overall. And it also has hibiscus for good flavor and color, really good for you as well. All herbs are basically supercharged with micronutrients and polyphenols and phytochemicals and more. And then there's a little bit of lemon balm to help you stay like calm, cool, and collected. So you brew this up and you just drink it often. It satisfies your sweet tooth because it's super tasty, but it's also really good for your immune system. So if you feel like I may be getting sick, something like that, you brew that up either hot or cold, and like you're going to be so good. It also combines really great with the spirituality. So honestly, that's a good combo to pick up at the same time. So that's the update for you guys. If you want to get on the spaceship, if there is one, pick up the shirt. I think we'll be first in line. That is what I would do if I was the alien on board. I'd be like, who has the merch already? You're first in line. There's a whole bunch of other stuff here. And of course, I will keep you up to date with what is happening. I saw this explosion on the sun and we went live almost instantly. And we've also been forecasting this, so it made perfect sense, but it did not take us long to spin up a live stream. Here we are. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, I've been your host, Stefan Burns. We cover earthquakes, solar activity, volcanoes, space weather, cosmic stuff, comets. We got a ton of those right now. Just a lot happening, and we're starting to see what we've been talking about unfold in real time. Radiation storm, very likely inbound. Almost certainly we're going to start getting blasted by high energy protons and electrons and other ions from the sun as a result of the solar explosion. So I will keep you up to date with all this and more. Hope to see you around and have a great day. Thanks so much.